Welcome to the Open Books Podcast, where we discuss all things going on in the real estate industry, helping you take the road less traveled to real estate success, guiding you to the top 10%. I'm your co-host, Curtis Haddock, alongside my co-hosts, Brooke Massey and Casey Tudor. Good morning, you guys.
Hello.
Another day, another podcast.
I think this coffee mug I have today is perfect.
It kind of is. This family is a little batty for those of you who can't see it or aren't watching.
It's not even Halloween.
It's not, but we are batty.
We are. Anyways.
Mostly because of Casey, though.
Because of Casey?
We know it's because of me, so stop it.
I'll just go with whatever you guys say, because then it's what y'all said, not what I said.
That's awesome.
That's right.
Okay.
So I plead the fifth on everything.
I like that. So, how are you guys doing today?
Doing good. Everything's moving along right on time.
Market's been kind of weird, you know, up and down, and people backing out and not backing out. I guess
being weird, emotional.
I guess that's kind of normal.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, I don't know.
It's always hard to adjust to the new market. That's like always seems to be the hard part. Once you kind of adjust to it and understand how people are behaving and reacting, you get it. And then it changes once you get used to it.
But why?
It's like your kids, you know?
What do you think's the hardest thing about a changing market? It's switching.
Well, I mean,
sometimes it's like, I don't know. To me, it's like subtle. But then it's like,
keeps you on your
it
toes.
doesn't seem to be subtle very often, even though
it's like subtly, but slap in the face.
Yeah, because what happens is you pick up a new client. So like whenever every house started going to multiple offer, like your new clients didn't believe it, and they lose 2 or 3 houses, and then be like, oh, he knows what he's talking about. And then after kind of all that goes, then it seems to be like everyone just like when you start telling them, they're like, oh yeah, we've heard of this.
Like I wonder. I've never thought about this.
The education kind of.
Well, I mean, but like. I wonder who I wasn't trying to cut you off either. I wonder who, like, the people like that were right in the middle of that change that were told like, oh, it's going to be multiple offers. You're going to you have to put your best foot forward. And it like wasn't, like when it stopped happening, like how many people overpaid when they didn't have to,
Yeah. Absolutely.
Just timing. It's just, it comes down to timing sometimes.
It does. It will always. Yeah. And then what's interesting about it is, because when that first started happening, I would get phone calls after we get our offers accepted. And they say, hey, we talked to our parents about this and they're saying that sellers are supposed to pay all the closing costs. And I'm like, well, no.
Yeah.
No, that's not going to happen.
Man, when I hear the word parents, I'm just like, man, like,
I know. Well, I've got a deal right now, and so far so good. But the mom is the lender.
Oh gosh.
Ooh, how's it going?
She's even seen the house.
Is it going okay though? Or
yeah, so far so good.
Because I mean, if she's at least in the industry, hopefully it makes it a little better.
Yeah.
I worked a deal once that he was a buddy of mine. He bought his buddy's house and he closed at his mother's title company and used his longtime family friend as the lender. And so it was a very interesting deal, that for sure.
Close?
Well, it was like the buyer would call me and like complain about something, like complain about his buddy that he's buying the house from. And then I'd be like, oh man, okay. And I had both sides. So I had to go wait a little bit, and then I'd call the buddy, and then he'd be like, oh yeah, no, we went to lunch, we had drinks, and we just talked it all out. And I'm like,
I've been through that too.
It happened a lot.
Yeah,
and then,
that's frustrating.
Yeah.
I had some people like that once where they were friends buying, and then so my clients called me and said, hey, we want you to represent us. We're buying a house from our friend. And then that friend goes, okay, you know what? I want to get a realtor too, just to make sure. It's like, okay, great. Well, then that realtor kept calling me and said, hey, you need to tell your clients to stop calling my client. I'm like, they're friends. They literally hang out. Like I cannot tell them to not be friends.
Right.
Yes.
But she did not and that's where like you realize like not all realtors are very bright. It's like as much as that sucks.
You got to deal with
that's
that.
not the way it works.
Yeah.
Like they're gonna talk. Get over it.
It would be like also like if you're friends with someone who's buying or selling a house with another realtor, that sucks in and of itself.
Oh yeah.
But like, if that's the case, or like, let's just say, the person, you're not like friends, and they're in the process. Maybe they didn't know you were a realtor, and then you guys, start like talking, and the other realtor gets mad, like you cannot talk to my client. They're under contract with me. I'm like, listen, we're not talking about, like, I'm not soliciting your client here. Did you guys see the post? It was an anonymous post on Real Estate Mastermind. I think yesterday or something. I don't remember when. But it said, what did it say? It said, oh my gosh, my husband's father-in-law just bought a house with another realtor. And if you think about it, that's pretty funny.
It's her dad, yeah.
It's her dad, yeah.
Oh my gosh.
That's good.
Yeah. And you got people posting like, oh, well, my parents' son is a realtor. I could probably see if there's anything I could do to help, or,
Yeah.
Stupid.
I wanted to post like, oh, my sister's brother is also a realtor.
Yeah. That's good. I'll drop his contact info below.
Anyways, what are we talking about today?
Leads.
Leads.
What is that?
Oh my goodness.
What's a lead?
Well, let's define it.
Leads are like love-hate relationship. I bet everybody has a love-hate relationship with leads.
Well, time out. Are you talking about like leads?
I'm just
we're
talking
defining
about
all
lead.
I know
I thought we were talking about leads, not leads.
So,
Yeah.
because technically all realtors should love leads.
That is true.
So it
That's
just
why-
depends what kind of lead.
That's why the word leads, I should say the word leads, I have a
It's
love-hate
misleading.
Oh,
relationship
the word,
with.
yes, because people don't understand what a lead really is.
You guys, either you heard my joke and didn't appreciate it, or you did not hear it.
No, I ignored you on purpose.
I would
I
love
said
to say,
maybe it's misleading.
Whoa.
I
Dun-dun.
didn't appreciate that joke.
You're right. I didn't hear it and I didn't appreciate it.
Stupid.
Okay, well then let's define what a lead is. What the heck is a lead?
Honestly, I think a lead is anyone and everyone,
That's ready
even
to
a 5-year-old, because
For sale.
in 20 years, I'm thinking about selling houses in 20 years, but they might need to buy a house in 20 years.
And I was gonna say, but
Everyone's going to move.
yeah, at some point. I mean, everyone needs shelter, which, like, because Brooke said that's ready to buy or sell. But yeah, I almost think a lead is anyone and everyone. Like, anyone and everyone you talk to is a potential lead.
Yeah, because
Yes.
either they've just moved or they haven't. I mean, it's like you got to look at every person and say, okay, where is this person at in their journey of home ownership?
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
And just try to figure that out. Maybe make that part of your conversation with them.
Yeah.
And then now they're a lead.
Yeah, I like that because, I mean, it's true. It's like you can start breaking it down. So a lead is technically everybody.
Right.
A lead is also, too, like you could break it down by timelines of when to buy and when they're going to sell, whether it's now or in 20 years or 6 months or 5 years. So this is my career, so I like to maintain all of them, right?
Yeah.
So I like to eat today and tomorrow and in 5 years, and hopefully still in 20 years, I'm still able to eat as well. So.
And hopefully we're eating by not selling houses, but through our business,
Right.
which is a whole nother topic for conversation.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I agree. I agree with that. And I think that that's where people kind of forget the importance of just putting your face out there in
Right.
the world. And we're in a society that loves to hide behind a screen and text or send, social media. Like, the next generation of realtors is going to have a really hard time. They don't know how to communicate with each other. Although one could argue that maybe they're going to be dealing with people in their generation that are also used
Right.
to hiding behind
It's
a
all
screen.
relative, I believe.
I think so too. So like at some point, I do think that you're going to be able to just connect with somebody that wants to buy or sell a house all through technology, and we're even going to sell houses without them even seeing them and showing up to them at some point. Maybe not 100%. of the
I still
transactions,
feel
but a good amount.
like there's gonna still have to be some kind of trust and relationship,
That
no
will
matter
never go
what.
away.
That will never go
That's
away.
our job security. I think that the fact that there has to be a rapport and a trust and like a, I mean, I guess that's no other way to put it other than a trusting relationship.
Yeah.
I think that's what creates job security for us, and the fact that it doesn't
It's
matter.
emotional.
Yeah. Well, I was gonna say, and the fact that it's real estate, that it's shelter. Like shelter has existed since the dawn of time. Like there's always going to
You
be
need food, water, and shelter.
yes.
Yeah.
Those are the three things that you need to survive.
So look at you. You were smart. You did your career in
survived
2
it.
out of the 3.
Yeah.
You
Wait.
need to go work for Ozark next.
No, that's what we always like said, and now I kind of say it now. I was like,
Yeah.
I have job security because people always need to eat. So there's always going to be some kind of form of grocery store because there's still always a threat, even with them, like people and it going away. Like there's Walmart has like robots that goes in like stock shelves and stuff like that for people. But
Yeah.
I saw a robot like beating up some dough making a pizza. I mean, he was just getting it.
Yeah.
what?
Yes, it was crazy.
I mean, I saw a robot that was draining half-court shots every time because it was programmed perfectly.
that's who we need to draft. We can turn all of our draft picks in for Oklahoma City.
Yeah,
to
right.
that
So
one
do
robot.
we? Could you imagine a sport where you're
A robot
where-
basketball league?
Well, I think that'd be kind of
The
cool. where
RN
If you
NBA?
controlled them,
Well, yeah, if you controlled them
programmed
or
them.
programmed them, and like now you're watching 2 programmed teams play to see like who has the edge, like
who programmed better.
them the best.
Yeah.
That's kind of cool, right?
yeah.
Ah, man, if only I knew how to do that. I think
Yeah.
that would be some big.
We don't see Curtis for-
royalties on that idea.
Yeah, we don't see Curtis for like 2 months. He's like in his garage building the robot.
Yeah.
Some billionaire right now is watching our
Everyone's
show.
like, how are we
just
gonna
went
pay
and
our
invested
bills?
already.
He's like, who
Elon
cares?
Musk, you heard it here first.
I mean, if you're a humble guy, we'll take 2%. It's like
Start higher than that. I'll take 50. I want half.
He's like, I was going to settle for 1.
well, I said 2 because I knew I had to share with y'all. So,
Oh, God. Why did you say 3?
There's 3 of
just
us.
kidding. Just kidding.
We're going to split 1?
I'm just kidding.
That would be really
Anyways,
cool, though. And do
but-
that with any sport.
Yeah, it'd be awesome.
But still, there's
it's gonna
always-
be hard to get away from that topic. Sorry.
Relationships.
Yeah.
Relationships are always going to be needed.
Yes.
So that's I always say, like, the best leads are the ones that you can go meet in person.
Yeah.
So because I've read some statistics somewhere that said every time you go and meet somebody, especially someone that you haven't met yet before, the odds of them using you as a realtor go up to like 70%.
Because your personality alone can make them feel comfortable enough to be
Yep.
like, oh, I
trust
that
this
person's
person.
approachable.
This is
and
it.
I can
This-
ask them
yeah.
questions about
Yes.
moving.
I trust them. I think that they're going to treat me well and do right by me. Yeah. I think part of why the reason why I just can't stand just the word leads is I think a lot of times when people say they're looking for a brokerage that provides leads, I don't even think they realize what they're asking.
Yeah, there's an assumption there.
I think the assumption, what I hate is the assumption is I'm looking for a brokerage that's going to give me people that are ready to buy and sell. So that
ready,
I-
willing, and able.
Yeah, so that I can become a 6-figure plus a year earner. And I'm sitting here thinking like, you realize that if it was that easy, they wouldn't
Everybody
be
would do
just
it.
giving them out to you. Like you would be basically being an employee,
Right.
Like
Right.
I would just hire everybody on as a minimum wage or something and give them a bonus for the couple closings, and all that income would be kept in house. That's what Zillow is trying to do.
Right.
That's what these lead companies want to do. That's why they want to charge a referral fee or some sort of pay at closing, because that's where the money is in the commissions. And if they
Yeah.
can figure out a way to get, as soon as somebody figures out a way to like get really good leads all the time, that are ready, willing, and able, then
Yeah,
There
well,
it
so
is.
once they're ready, willing, and able, they're no longer a lead. Now they're a buyer.
Yeah, now they're a client.
Yes.
You know, so
Yes.
it's like you moved on. So
That's a great point. You're like, okay, I'll give you leads. Here's the white pages.
right. That's what
Start
Ricky
calling
Crew talks
them.
about.
You
3
know?
million leads. How many people in U.S.?
I mean, let's just say this. I don't know.
It's like 300 million or something like that.
Let's say there's 300 million people in the U.S. Okay, we could be way off. Who says this?
Ricky Cruz.
Yeah, Ricky Cruz says it. He always says if you add up the number of leads that are sold on an annual basis, okay, I think it was like 330 million people in the U.S.
333 as of 2022.
There you go. 330 million people in the United States, and there's 300 million leads sold every year. Now, whether some of those are duplicates or not, I'm sure they are, but let's assume that those are unique leads. That's almost every single person in the United States.
Right.
And you take kids out. I mean, like,
And you can just go knock on your next door neighbor's house
Yep.
for free.
yeah. So I mean, literally, you're just following up with the population.
Yeah, and I think that's why people struggle being in real estate, because they don't want to do those things.
They don't
I mean, it's
realize
like
that,
you want it's interesting because they want to. I mean, we all have this tendency. I think like this invertedness of us, and it's like we just don't want to talk to anyone. We want to go hide in our hole, you know, or a
we just
happy
want to
place,
get our
wherever
job
that
done,
is.
get paid, and go do what we want to do.
Yeah, but that just
But-
doesn't work in this industry.
It doesn't work.
You have to time block that.
People, we're in a world of convenience. So
Yeah.
if there's something in business, like business owners, you know, like Zillow and stuff, figured that out. Like if we can make it convenient for someone to get a lead, then it seems so much easier, because if somebody just has a list of phone numbers in front of them, it's like,
It's a lot of work.
it's a lot of work, and it's like it's like their instant gratification. It's like, oh, now I have something to do.
Yeah.
When really they have the same access in their phone, or
But they don't- when it's
looking
their
stuff
phone,
up
they don't wanna
online.
bother 'em.
Yes, and it's just crazy. I mean, going back to the grocery store, you could go buy a watermelon for $3, or you could go buy like a quarter of a watermelon, but it's all chopped up for you, but it costs you $8.
Yeah.
People will go buy the $8 because it's convenient, and it's like it's the same thing.
Yeah.
It's the same thing.
Yeah, Ricky Cruz also talks about. Well, it's interesting when you listen to his his question section or whatever in his YouTube videos, because people ask questions like, "Well, what if they unsubscribe from my email list?" He's like, and he's like, then they're not your client.
Right.
You know, and it's
Go
just
get
like,
another.
but they're so caught up in that what if.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like, you know, and I mean, and I know that because I do those things.
Yeah.
So,
Well, I like that you bring that up, because maybe we can kind of go into sources of leads.
Okay.
And because I also want to talk about like conversion rates of different kinds of leads.
Okay.
So because I think we can kind of lead back to like the
yeah.
unsubscribe, and it's like at the end of the day, it is a numbers game, right? Unfortunately,
Yeah.
that's just part of it. You have to go out there and meet people and make those relationships, and just like you go and make friends, or you go out and date, like you don't click with everybody, and that's okay, because
That's a
those
good
are not the
point.
people that
Are
are
gonna be
supposed
your
to be your
circle.
client. Yes.
Yeah.
just like dating.
So you have to go out there and build that
Look at these
foundation.
analogies you two are coming up with.
It's almost like we did a whole podcast on that.
Wow.
Wow.
This is incredible.
Parallels of
No,
real estate and dating.
I want to ask our listeners a question. This
Okay.
is a rhetorical question that you can answer in the comment section.
After you subscribe.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not going to tell you the type of lead source that it is. Okay, so you don't know the activity
Is it
that you're
multiple
going to
choice?
do. Yeah, it's only two answers, two choices.
Okay. Okay.
There's two choices.
Love
here,
it.
Would
okay?
you rather? I'm just
It's a
kidding.
it is a would you rather.
Okay.
Okay. Would you rather, get a lead that has a 30% chance to convert, or would you rather get a lead that has a 3% chance to convert? I'm not,
Oh,
and
let
you
me-
don't know anything else.
Wait. And then I also want to add, would you rather have seller leads or buyer leads?
Okay, so
On top of your question.
I don't want to do it on top. I think those are two separate questions.
Oh, kind of.
Because what if? Because
Now there's a what if? No, I'm getting it.
What if on top of
No,
would you rather?
I wanted to
doesn't
ask
mix.
that because I want people to
No, I
think
think
about the
that's-
percentage and what I just asked because they're going to probably be surprised when we start talking.
No, I agree with that question 100%. But I think we could have them as two independent questions. Because okay, we'll take it further. The first question is, which one do you want conversion rate? Which is a rhetorical question because if you say 3%, then get out of the industry and get out of here.
I'll tell you what I'm looking for, guys. I'm looking for. I want to give the most of my commission up to a referral source and do the most amount of work I possibly can, as long as it was given
and
to
talk
me.
to as many people as you can to get one deal.
That's what I want.
That's what the industry does.
I know, it's terrible.
Which is crazy. They're willing to pay to do more work, which is wild. Okay, so let's just say obvious answer is 30%.
Yeah.
Now let's go to Brooke's question. You have a 30% conversion rate. Okay, you have a 30% conversion rate for buyer leads and a 30% conversion rate for seller leads. Which one do you want?
Seller, please.
Seller.
Please.
I didn't even know if that was like a real question.
Well, it's
I mean,
probably
some
more
people do
real.
like working with buyers.
I've
I get that.
had people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've had people in our office say that they prefer buyer leads and they don't want to work with sellers. And it's really hard to get through to them to say you're going to have a really hard time, building any kind of business like that.
Or
way.
spending any time with your kids.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, so buyers take more time. They cost more money.
They always want to go back to the house.
Right? I mean, you're the one who has to write the contract. You're the one who has to go to the inspections. You're the one who has to get quotes on all the repairs and stuff that need to be done. I mean, buyers, which is why I think that the perception in the industry is wild about not wanting to pay a buyer agent commission because they're the ones who keep this industry together.
Literally bust their A-word.
Yes.
Right. And I think with the changes coming up, you've already noticed, like if you're on Facebook and you get all those targeted ads, they're all talking about seller leads now.
Mm-hmm.
I never saw that before.
That is interesting.
Yeah.
And maybe I just wasn't paying attention to that kind of thing, but I've definitely noticed.
The pay at closing companies have usually they've been they were buyers too. Yeah, I have noticed more seller stuff. You're right. All of a sudden now they know how to go get seller leads,
Right?
And they're gonna sell you that because sellers is what you should want, and it's like, well,
I feel like the conversion rate on those seller leads versus buyer leads is a lot less than 3%, though.
It could be on like paid leads.
Yeah.
I'm sure that it is. I don't know for sure, but I also when I think about like if we were to run an ad and try to go pay for our own leads, and do the whole thing ourselves. I do know that it would be a lot easier to pay and get buyer leads than seller leads. Because to get a seller lead, you got a lot of programs out there that are trying to predict when a homeowner is going to be in the market to move.
Yeah.
And that's all it is a prediction. I don't know how you could get seller leads without actually knowing that they're wanting to sell.
Right.
Yeah.
Someone filed for divorce or
else you're gonna get the
Something
white
like
pages
that.
and you're gonna say, hey, I heard you want to sell, and they're gonna be like, what?
But buyer leads, I always make this joke, but it's so true. Go ask anybody. Ask a random stranger on walking down the street. Hey, do you have the Zillow app on your phone? Because everybody loves looking at homes. So it's so much
Right. It's
easier to get
exciting.
it's exciting. It's fun. Selling your house is not exciting.
no.
Unless you're have a ton of equity and whatever else. No, people are usually stressed out. They got to move. They got to move all their stuff. They got to clean the house, keep it tidy.
I would argue too that you could say almost everyone is in the market to buy because so many people want to be an investor.
Oh yes. So
you
there's
know?
now day and age, I have so many friends, or I meet somebody and they always have at least one investment property, at least one. Mm-hmm. So,
Or at least they say they have one.
Right, whatever.
I'm an investor.
I'm gonna inherit my mom's property someday.
Yeah, rent it out and
hey, it still counts if you got another house.
yeah, I think
mean,
it counts.
I actually do have my mom's house.
What?
I said I actually do have my mom's house in my name.
Nice. Is she alive still?
She is.
What did you do?
Does she
how'd you
live
trick
there?
her? Does she know that you?
Does she live there?
It's an interesting situation because when my stepdad died, my siblings my step siblings tried to come and take the house from her. And so we just put the house in my name.
But does she live there?
Yeah.
Does she pay you rent?
She paid me rent? No, it's paid off.
Oh, well, then that's not a rental. Or investment.
It's just an asset.
I know.
Yeah. It's an
Just
asset.
teasing. Well, let's just talk about like sources of leads.
Now, do they get any of that? How come it was their dad, but it was originally her house?
Both of theirs. They both
theirs?
bought it together.
So you got to be the lucky one to get to inherit it all instead of them getting any of it? How come they don't get any of it?
Well, I mean, they tried to force her to sell it.
This is not part of the podcast episode,
Right.
by the way.
I know. I like tried to move on.
They tried to force her to sell it, but
So because of
they're
that,
in
they
joint
got-
tenancy.
they-
So whenever he
Right.
dies,
Oh,
it's her
automatic.
house.
Yeah.
Right, in Oklahoma.
Oh, so she got to decide who got it then.
Yeah.
So
Okay,
sources
cool.
of leads.
So then it became her house, but
Yeah.
then she went ahead and
Which is why
basically
when you,
put my name
if you
on
ever, if you get remarried, then that's why you got to protect your kids. Because if you die first and you get remarried, and the other person has kids that are not yours together, this is what happens. So you got to set up a trust.
My stepdad, he didn't even want to give his kids life insurance. I really hope they don't listen to this. I don't think they will. But he didn't want to give them life insurance. And my mom was like, no, you should probably do that. And he's like, well, they don't even like call me on my birthday kind of thing, you know? And she's like, if something happens, of course he wouldn't know, but you know, you'll regret it. And he's like, okay. Well then, so whenever he died, they both got like X amount of money, and then they used that money to sue my mom.
Oh my
It's like-
gosh!
It was
And
just a
she's
crazy.
the one
It
who
was just
got
a
it for
crazy
him.
situation, man.
Wow, people, man, we see and hear a lot of what people are like dealing with people's assets and their largest asset.
Oh.
in
Yeah.
most cases.
And I've tried to sell houses like this where there's five
involved.
kids.
And
and
the
it's a
arguing and the
freaking
And they're
fighting.
all, one of them's like, well, Dollar General came and knocked on the door and asked for the property. They were going to give us $300,000. It's like, but your
did
dad
they?
told them no, and they built next door. So Dollar General is not your buyer anymore.
Oh, they're already okay. Yeah.
So
yeah.
they say stuff like that, or we had a buyer that wants to do this. I go, well, give me his number and I'll reach out to him. They're like, oh, we don't have his number anymore. I'm like,
Well, he's not a buyer.
people,
Yeah.
you don't write your own narrative.
Yeah.
You know, like,
As much as you'd like to.
Yeah.
Okay. So back to leads.
Sources of leads.
So sources, Brooke, are
Referrals.
referrals.
Open house
okay,
leads.
okay, we're gonna do okay. Yeah, but no, before that, like what most people think about when they want leads is they want the paid leads. And I guess we kind of touched on that. So then the better source of leads are going to be.
Well, because I was going to talk about sources altogether.
I do think that
so,
we can,
because those
but
are it. But
You're
I
just
have
listening?
like,
yeah, tell me your thought process.
yeah. So I mean, traditional. I mean, it's kind of broken down. Whoa, spilt my coffee.
Oh, I didn't, you saw?
yeah.
It just like
splashed
bounced up. I like barely moved it. So traditional sources like referrals, open houses, your neighbors, farming, cold calling is a source of leads.
Door knocking.
Cold calling could be anything. FSBOs, expireds. It could be internet leads. Digital sources, so on social media, real estate websites, email marketing, and then paid sources, online ads, lead generation services.
Yep. Well, then you've got other things like garage sales, estate sales. I mean, anywhere.
Networking.
Filling up at the gas station, checking out at the grocery store.
It's like- but
wa-
then,
walking
like-
your dog, driving around, previewing for your open houses.
I mean, you have to
is a
look.
lead
Yeah, you have to
source.
look at it like this: you're walking your dog, someone else is walking your dog. Your dogs sniff each other's butts, and then you, as the adult, you sniff each other's butts.
Yeah.
No, I'm kidding.
That's what I was
I
gonna
was
say.
like,
No, but as they're sniffing each other's butts, that's
not
your
how I
time.
get leads.
That's your time to
Ooh, you're
get to
missing
know
out.
get to know that person, and you have a commonality with the person immediately because you both have dogs. That's what people want. They want to be related
And
to.
that's a warmer.
What's your dog's name? Do you live in the neighborhood? Oh man, how long have you lived here?
like, no, we
years?
just
Ooh,
walk here.
It's about
But-
time.
Yeah,
no
it's about
matter
time.
what, no matter what I always say with the
Statistics say.
leads is you still have to call them. You still have to meet them. You still have to sell yourself. You still have to provide value on all of those leads sources
Right.
we talked about. So, but then it's go through those lead sources and see what percentage they bring as a conversion rate.
I'll say two things about that.
Mm-hmm.
What is the conversion rate on each of those leads, but also what are you talented at? Like, which one are you good at? Which one would you get up in the morning and are you going to go do? Because if one of them is a 30% conversion rate and another one is 15% conversion rate, but you're more willing to do the 15% conversion rate every single day,
do that one.
Do that
that's true.
one. I mean, you don't have to kill yourself and be unhappy and stressed doing the one that you absolutely despise. However, you should still try it out because you might be good at it, and you can change your perspective on it.
And do more than just one lead source.
Yes.
Do not. I've seen so
But don't
many
do 100.
agents. It will just focus on one thing and then they burn themselves out. And it's like you have to go do all of it because it is so nice. If I have a day and I'm going to a FSBO and the FSBO was terrible and yelled at me and whatever else, but then I went to a recruiting appointment, which can be on another one, but then the recruit was really good and now they're going to come join my team. And then maybe I go do an open house that Sunday as well. And then I have a really good open house. So now I have like a crappy this, but I still had a couple wins, or vice versa. I could go get the listing on the FSBO, have a terrible recruit and a really crappy open house, but I still had this. So it's like, it's a mindset too.
That's why I think the beginning of your career is probably one of the hardest times when you're building your pipeline and building your business, because you do need to do spread out what your lead sources are, and you got to try at least as many of them as you can. I do think there's a fine line on doing all of them. I think that because you want to become the book The One Thing. It talks about becoming an expert on one thing, and for us that should be real estate as a general practice.
Right. Yes.
But you can overextend yourself if you're trying to do everything at the same time, but what you need to do is find a few of those things and you need to do them, and you got to do them for a while. Don't just do it for a couple of weeks and then quit because it doesn't work.
You don't eat you don't eat salads for a week and then be skinny the next week.
Right. It's all the same. And I get why it's hard for people to commit to something for a long time when we have habits, and we don't want to break those habits of where we are indulging in things or resting, or where we binge TV or whatever it is that we do.
I think you're protecting yourself against missing out on those things that you're comfortable in, like watching TV and stuff. You don't want to go try out something new that doesn't work, and then you just wasted your evening.
I think,
but it's funny because by protecting yourself, you're actually hurting your chances of becoming successful in something. I think you're not taking the risk.
I think you got to answer the question that we talk about is your why. Why are you here? What's your purpose? What do you want out of this? Because if you, depending on how you answer that question, the next question is, are you willing to do what it takes to get there? Mm-hmm. And if that answer is no, then you need to adjust what you want.
Yeah.
And to quit deceiving yourself.
Yeah. And then be unapologetic about being a realtor. Go out and tell everyone what you do. Be proud of it and be excited about it.
Yeah.
And don't feel guilty or like you're bothering someone. Who cares? Call them and tell them what you're doing.
Yes.
They automatically know you're a real estate agent, and you're going to call them and ask them questions.
And another mistake I see people make, you and I were talking about this yesterday, okay? One of the lead sources is referrals, okay? If you are out there online and you are telling people that you drive Uber, or that you mow lawns, or that you are working working at the bank or at the grocery store, or if you're touting your other job on social media, it's going to be very hard for them to know. They're going to be confused.
Yeah.
What do you do? Are you an expert at at landscape, or are you an expert at real estate? Are you an expert in finance, or are you an expert in real estate? Like, which one? Because people want to use the people who are doing this, because it's a large asset. They want to know they're protected. They want to know that you know what you're doing.
Yeah, you can, and I think you can totally do two different things.
Yes, I do
but
too.
They need to be able to be disconnected. Like, for example, if you want to be a realtor, but also say maybe a home designer or a stager. That's very connected, but also has two different clientele bases, because really when you stage homes, you're the realtor's client at that point.
Yes.
And when you're selling houses, you're everyone else's, so I think that's okay. But being a lender and a realtor, or being a realtor and an insurance agent, like, man, that's
it's confusing, and people, as soon as I hear somebody is dual licensed in industries that are connected like that, my first thought is you don't know how to get leads.
Right.
You don't know what you're doing. You're trying to use the other for the other, and vice versa.
Or this wasn't working, so you're trying to do this. It's just,
I
you're just
couldn't
trying
imagine
things.
going and being a lender or an insurance agent right now. There's no way.
Well, because you know what it takes to be to be good at this, and it's a full-time job.
Right.
There's not enough time. There is not enough time to be a great lender and a great realtor. You don't have enough time. In fact, you would have to say you're average at both.
Right.
If you did that. And if people know that you're average and not great, they're not gonna want to be referred. They're not gonna refer you or use you themselves.
Right.
I think something going back to like the steady progression too, and you have to be consistent for so long. I think what's hard is like comparing it to like working out or eating healthy. If you do that consistently, you start seeing gains or you start losing weight. So you start seeing what you're doing every day. So it's satisfying. But sometimes in real estate, when you're really trying to get up and going, whether you're new or you're just trying to like get your business to another position, sometimes you don't see those gains, and you have to be consistent for so long. And I see it every time, and every single time it's like one day everything just starts rolling down the hill as long as you're consistent.
Well,
But
sometimes in real estate, if you eat that salad, you gain 10 pounds.
That's
and
true.
it's not even explained.
yes,
You know,
that
and
too.
you're just like, what just happened?
So you're like climbing the hill, and then you hit a rock, and then all of a
just
sudden you're
fall.
like, why am I driving? And you got to go back up the hill again.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
rough. Yeah, well, and I think what people don't take into consideration either on any of that stuff is like, once you learn, well, first of all, to gain muscle and to lose weight, you have to learn how to eat healthy and work out.
Yeah, ooh,
so
good point.
You're building the skills while you're trying to see results, but it's like that's not the way it works. So but that's where people give up, is like, well, I don't even know how to do this, so forget it. So but you got to learn that stuff. Then you do consistency. Then you see results.
Get a mentor. Just get a mentor. Get a trainer.
Yeah.
I mean, are you gonna lose more weight if you have a trainer, or are you trying to do it on your own?
Yeah.
I mean,
I need somebody to tell me what to do.
Someone could argue possibly that they would, but if you actually got a trainer who knows what they're talking about and knows your body type and knows everything about you, they're going to be able to tell you, put a plan together and tell you what to do way better than you can.
Yeah, and maybe all they need to do is tell you how to break the stupid habits you have.
Potentially,
You know?
you don't know.
Because anyone can learn how to work out or eat right, but it's like, how do you break the habits that causes you to make those bad decisions?
For sure.
Yeah.
Well, our last little section is really just about like maintaining and like qualifying leads, because I feel like that is the next big chunk. It's like, okay, here's the different lead sources. You figure out what you want, right? Figure out what is a good conversion rate and which lead source you want to do. But now you need to figure out like, how long does each of those lead sources typically take to convert?
I think you got to have a system and a process in place.
And touches. I always say you need to try to have multiple touches if you can. You want people to think about you. I want them to see me calling them. I want them to see a text message, and I want to see my email go across it. And sometimes I don't even care if they don't open my email.
To see your name.
Because there's plenty of times I've been scrolling my email, and I could tell you some emails that I know for a fact I don't open, but I know for a fact I get.
Yeah.
So it's just the power of just being consistent in those touches in front of them.
Well, you guys know who Frank Driscoll is, right?
Yes.
Okay, there you go.
No, is it the
shit. Real Estate Mastermind admin guy? He posts 4 or 5 times a day on that, and I see his name all the time. I don't know what he does.
I mean, that's the power of social media.
But
That's why we have to
I
comment.
know who he is.
And don't just post on your own page. You got to comment so people go to your page.
Yes.
And he doesn't even comment on his pages, and I still know who he is.
But he's posting in the group so that you go look and see who he is and what he does.
Yeah,
you know?
it's cool because he gets other people to engage on the post, you know, and like he doesn't even give his opinion on it, which is really cool.
Yeah.
It's just that's less work.
Yeah.
But I think for me, I think what people need to understand is when you meet someone, when you're qualifying a lead, where are they at in the process?
Yes.
And that's how you know how you can go touch them, you know, because you don't want to be blowing some up. And this happens all the time. People will meet someone at an open house who may be a year out,
Yes.
and then they send them 50 houses a day. Well, that doesn't do anything for
There's
you.
no value in that.
There's no value. So yeah, you got to figure out what their next step is. And maybe if they're a year out, it's every once in a while, hey, I saw this house. No, you're not moving anytime soon, but it reminded me of you. Here you go.
Just a nice little touch.
Hey, here's a new loan program that my lender told me about. You know, something to think about for when you guys are ready. Like just stuff like that. Or
that's
you know,
smart.
Like
Merry
just-
Christmas.
Yes.
That kind of stuff.
Oh yeah, I love it. Or I'll randomly. This is what I always love to do. I always like to kill people with kindness, and I'll just say, "Hey, I just was thinking about you. I hope you have an amazing Monday."
Yeah.
And that's it. And I always get people responding that way because it's
cool.
just kindness. And so
Yeah.
it's like people naturally feel bad and they naturally have to tell you too to have a really awesome Monday.
Or it
Because that
makes
was
them feel
really
good.
nice.
Yeah.
So
And shoot, may have made their day.
Yeah.
The other end of the spectrum
really my goal.
would be
Also to
someone
sell a
who's in your
house.
open house and they're like, "Oh man, our lease ends in 30 days and we won't have anywhere to go." And then the agent's like, "Okay, well, you know, whenever you need something, let me know." It's like, no, get your computer out, pull
just
up
told
houses,
you.
and schedule them now.
yes.
You know, and now you have a ready, willing, and able buyer, and you're showing them houses.
I
and
call that
just-
cracking
yeah.
the door open.
Yeah.
Like when as soon as they crack it open, like
you kick it in.
Ooh, here's a-
you put
know-
your foot in the crack and
Yeah.
say don't let them close the damn door.
Right.
Like,
So
Exactly.
Sorry. I was going
that's
to
okay.
say,
That's okay.
would
That's okay.
you? Would
That's
you?
okay.
I'm going to smack you.
I'm fine.
Well, I wasn't done, but go ahead.
Everything's fine.
Go ahead.
I thought you were, but then you just started messing with me.
No, it's all good. I'm just saying. I was just gonna say, cracking the door open is just anytime they hint at that they are ready to move forward or that they're curious about the next step, bust in the door and tell them the next step.
Yep. Have you been pre-approved?
Brookster?
I was just going to say, would you send them a house or would you make them go get pre-approved?
Shoot, I would set up probably at least
do
2 or
both,
3
yeah.
houses. And then as we're setting
talk
it
to them
up,
about
I'm
it.
going to say, have you guys been pre-approved yet? And
love
if they
it.
say no, I'm going to say, okay, I'm sending you Jacob Crouch's information right now. And he gives me a thumbs up. And then I'm going to even see if they'll call while we're standing there or call on the way to the showings.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I love that. I brought that up because, as I mentioned before, your chances go up 70% when you meet somebody. So one of the biggest things that I hear, they're like, I don't show houses without pre-approvals, which I mean, there's some truth to that. Don't get me wrong, but also too, if it's someone new and they're saying things like that, I'm getting in front of them
Yes,
because then
they
as
could-
soon
yes.
as I get in front of them, I'm selling them on a lender on a pre-approval.
Yes,
because they can't avoid it at that point. People don't like it because they're
Yeah.
like, ooh, it's gonna bust my credit and
Right,
all
they're-
the
they're
things, and they're
apprehensive.
scared.
They're scared.
But they're
That's
not
okay.
scared to go see a house. So just
Right.
get them to the freaking house, and
get
then I'll
them.
make them feel comfortable
And
with
then,
that.
then you don't need to sell them because they're like, this is it. What do we do?
But
Yes, exactly.
I mean, it's easy. That's easy.
to play
Yes.
devil's advocate here, I think that's a great strategy. But then if they start playing games after that point,
Right.
then let's talk
Totally.
about your strategy of you need a pre-approval. I'm not going to keep showing you.
Yeah.
Like,
Yes.
But to Brooke's point, 100%. Like if you can get in front of somebody, too many people won't get in front of somebody because they think they're not serious just because
Yeah.
they won't
And-
do
and
something.
this
and
is
I've
also-
met people that aren't serious as soon as I met them, and that's okay. That's part of
Yeah.
it. But
They might refer
have
you.
I have it less when I do that and I'm in front of them than if I try to make them get the pre-approval beforehand.
Yeah, and I think this is also what I mean by be unapologetic about what you do because you're the professional. So it's like, hey, look, I don't mind showing you a few houses without a pre-approval. If you have a concern about getting one, I would just encourage you to call the lender and just ask him questions first.
Yes.
Before you get a pre-approval. I was like, but here's the thing. I can technically submit an offer without one. Like, no one's going to stop me from doing so. But I'm going to put myself in, or I want you to put yourself in the seller's shoes. If I'm selling your home, I always do this, but if I'm selling your house and someone sends you an offer, but we don't know if they have any money, are you going to pull it off the market and accept it?
Right.
And then not give anyone else a chance while we wait around for when they're ready to let you know if they're approved or not? No. And then that's when they're like, oh, that makes sense.
Yep. Exactly.
So I just, put
I usually
them in their shoes.
I like that. I usually take it as like, hey, like that's your initial first step, because if I don't have that pre-approval, I don't know what to do with my job at that point.
Right.
That is a direction for me. So now I know what homes I can show you. I know what price point. I said, because the last thing I want to do is break your heart and take you to a house that you fall in love with, and then you can't afford it.
Well, a lot of people though, they'll go, honey, I can afford it. I assure you, I have no problem getting qualified.
Like,
and then they do, and then the lender's like, yeah, their credit score is effed.
You're at a $600,000 house and they can afford $300,000.
Yeah. Hey, congratulations on your pre-approval. They're approved up to $150,000. Like, wow, I just showed them a $450,000 house with a pool. They invited me over for hot dogs.
Oh my gosh.
Well,
anyways.
Anything else?
No.
Well, yeah. Would you rather?
Would I rather what?
Were you over there pondering on some?
I was trying to,
Oh, okay. I figured.
but I wasn't very successful with it.
Oh, well, you
I
had
thought
one
of some.
job.
I thought of some. I think of some, but then it's too easy of an answer. Like, I like ones that Brooke can't answer. That means it's a good one.
Yeah. And then we can give her shit.
Yeah, it makes it more fun.
I think you guys just like to give me shit. I'm like your little sister or
like
something.
a punching bag. Yeah, like
Punching
Like
bag.
a punching bag, yeah.
Whatever.
Well,
okay. So would you rather?
If you guys see me with a black eye, make sure you watch us on YouTube. Check for my black
with my
eyes.
words, I like to be abusive with my words.
oh, this website just has one a day. This is one I pulled up last week or two.
Oh, that's cool.
You
Okay,
can't
what
even
is that?
change it. It's just,
Okay,
it is
well,
what it is. We're going to go with it. I'm not even going to read it.
Yeah.
Would you rather have a car that can drive underwater or have a car that can
I
fly?
can fly. Piece
Ooh.
of cake.
You can cover a lot more ground.
Yeah, go anywhere.
Yeah, probably fly.
Well, that sucked.
You guys
Although-
instantly judge the would you rather question on me.
What do you mean? Like,
Because it's like you guys both look at me and they're like,
Well, I didn't
as soon
look
as
at
I
you.
answer, they're like, damn it.
that wasn't a good one. Brooke answered it too easily.
Okay, would you rather be forced to sing along or dance along to every song you ever hear again?
Dance.
Oh man, if I don't have the energy, like,
I love to dance.
Singing well takes a lot of energy, though.
but
You do it
why
right.
do you have to do it well?
You don't.
Yeah, I
know?
suck at singing.
I'm not a great singer or a great dancer.
I just talk louder.
I guess if you, this is a good one because I'm gonna be Brooke now.
I'm gonna say sing because I would just
Ooh, is this
because I would get
complicated
better
for
and better.
you?
But dancing, you would be forced to exercise.
Yes.
Oh, that's actually pretty good. That's why I said sing though, because I don't want to move around that much.
Oh,
I know. I get.
I love dancing.
I choose sing because I'm a musician, so I would rather sing than dance. But I've always, every time I watch someone dance like really well, I'm like,
I'm so jealous of
man,
that.
I'm like, that
Oh.
is so cool.
They're so athletic too.
and
That's
how
usually
much-
my TikTok is
How
like
much
dance
work
videos.
they put into that to get that good at it? I mean, that's just unbelievable.
I mean, I'll say this: anybody
It is a lot.
who's
Yeah.
like at that level that you're talking about at anything, it required years and hours of
Yes.
practice and hard work.
they probably do it every day.
Oh, like Beyonce did a documentary and like on her what she like after she had all of her babies and stuff, and then she went and did for the Super Bowl. That's what it was. I don't remember what that documentary was, but it showed how she prepared for it, and I was like, fuck.
Full-time job.
Yeah. Beep. Oh yeah, I forgot.
What'd you say?
Don't say it again.
Fudge.
I like fudge. Actually, I don't. It's too much.
It just depends.
too
In
rich.
small.
I like
amounts,
Buc-ee's
in
fudge.
small amounts. Oh yeah, I love it.
Have you been to Buc-ee's and got their fudge though?
I go to Buc-ee's all the time.
Did you get their fudge?
No, I don't do their fudge.
You should
Oh,
get
okay,
their.
listen.
You should get their
Comment, subscribe.
Snickers
One more
one.
thing. If you go to Buc-ee's, they have a brisket or sorry, a Philly cheesesteak burrito.
Oh,
Oh my God.
listen, what?
I'll
what?
get it in the morning. If we roll to Bucky's at like 5 or 6 a.m., I'm getting that burrito.
They have a jalapeno cheddar kolache that's on
I can't
point.
eat jalapenos on the road. It's not a good situation.
Well, but let's be honest. Like, what from Bucky's is terrible?
Their merch. I don't get that. Like people that wear Bucky shirts. I'm like,
As we
Ooh, I
come
got-
to an end,
I got some Bucky swim trunks. So
gross. Have you been to Wally's? We'll talk about this after the show.
no, we've talked about this.
Okay.
As we come to an end.
As we come to an end, I just want to say thank you for listening. And if you like our content, please like, subscribe, click the bell for notifications. You can say anything in the comments. We don't really care. We just want you to engage, please.
Also, yeah, I was gonna say, and if you don't like our content, then please like, subscribe.
Anyways,
and click
and
on
just
the bell.
forget you did it, and then you're in forever. And we love you for it. And so, anyways,
Thanks, guys.
Yeah, we love you. Signing off. This is Casey Tudor, Curtis Haddock, Brooke Mussey.